Imagine you're hungry, really hungry. Not because you skipped lunch, but because you've been hunting all day. You finally catch an animal, build a fire, and cook the meat over hot coals. There are no restaurants, no drive-thrus, no cheeseburgers, and no ketchup. Just fire, meat, and your own two hands. Now imagine telling that person that one day billions of people around the world would eat a sandwich called a burger. A meal so famous that you could buy it almost anywhere on Earth. It would sound completely impossible. But here's the surprising part. The burger didn't appear overnight. Nobody invented the perfect burger in a single day. It was built piece by piece over thousands of years. Bread came from one civilization, ground meat from another, and cooking methods improved over time. The burger is not the story of one invention. It's the story of hundreds of small ideas coming together. Let's go back nearly 10,000 years. Humans had just begun farming instead of constantly hunting and moving from place to place. They started growing wheat and barley and raising animals like sheep, goats, and cattle. For the first time, food wasn't only something people hunted. It became something they produced. People learned to grind grain into flour using large stones, mixed it with water, and baked flat pieces of dough on hot rocks or inside simple ovens. These weren't burger buns, they were flatbreads, simple, filling, and easy to carry. They became one of the most important foods in history because they could be eaten with almost anything.
Now, add meat. Early humans usually roasted large pieces of meat over open fires, but eventually they discovered that chopping meat into small pieces made it cook faster, taste better, and easier to chew. Long before meat grinders existed, people were already chopping meat by hand with knives. Ancient civilizations across the Middle East, Central Asia, Greece, and Rome all had their own versions of chopped or minced meat. Some mixed it with onions, herbs, and spices, while others shaped it into small patties before cooking it over the fire. These simple meat cakes were some of the earliest ancestors of today's burger patty. As time passed and the Middle Ages arrived, trade routes connected countries across Europe and Asia. New foods and cooking ideas traveled from one place to another. One famous story says that Mongol horsemen carried raw minced meat under their saddles while riding long distances. The pressure supposedly softened the meat, making it easier to eat later. Historians still debate how true this story is, but one fact is clear. Minced beef became increasingly popular throughout Eastern Europe. Eventually, the city of Hamburg became famous for its high-quality beef. Local cooks prepared seasoned minced beef that became known as Hamburg steak. It wasn't a sandwich yet. It was simply a cooked beef patty served on a plate.
During the 1800s, millions of Europeans emigrated to the United States, bringing their favorite recipes with them. Among those recipes was Hamburg steak. American restaurants quickly noticed that customers enjoyed it because it was flavorful, filling, and more affordable than expensive cuts of beef. Soon, Hamburg steak appeared on menus across the country. But there was still one important piece missing: bread. Street vendors and food sellers realized that people wanted food they could carry while walking. Someone had the simple but brilliant idea of placing the cooked beef between two slices of bread. Suddenly, the meal became portable. No plate, no fork, no problem. Exactly who created the first hamburger sandwich remains one of history's biggest food mysteries. Several people claimed the invention. One famous story credits Charlie Negrin, a teenager in Wisconsin, who supposedly flattened a meatball and placed it between bread at a county fair in 1885 so customers could eat while walking. Other stories point to inventors in Texas, Oklahoma, New York, and Connecticut. Every claim has supporters, but no single story has been proven beyond doubt. It's likely that several people came up with the same idea around the same time, each trying to solve the same problem. Once the hamburger sandwich appeared, everything changed. Restaurants discovered they could prepare beef quickly and serve large numbers of customers. Railroads transported cattle across America. Cities grew rapidly, and busy workers needed fast, filling meals. The hamburger fit perfectly into modern life. Then, in 1921, White Castle opened in Kansas with a mission to convince Americans that hamburgers were clean, safe, and high quality. At the time, many people didn't trust ground beef. White Castle built spotless kitchens, dressed employees in white uniforms, and served simple, consistent burgers. Customers loved it, and many historians consider White Castle the world's first successful fast food hamburger chain.
After World War II, America changed even faster. Families bought cars, highways expanded, and drive-in restaurants became popular. People wanted meals that were quick, affordable, and easy to eat while traveling. The hamburger was the perfect answer. Restaurants began using assembly line kitchens where each worker performed one small task, making burgers in seconds instead of minutes. This system spread across the world, and soon hamburgers were being served in countries everywhere. Over time, cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, onions, pickles, bacon, special sauces, double patties, chicken burgers, and even plant-based burgers created thousands of different versions of the original idea. Today, billions of burgers are eaten every year. They are served in small roadside diners, family kitchens, luxury restaurants, sports stadiums, airports, schools, and even tested for future space missions. The burger became one of the world's most recognizable foods, not just because it tastes good, but because its design is incredibly practical. The bread keeps your hands clean, the patty stays in the center, and the toppings remain together. It is simple, portable, customizable, and easy to make almost anywhere. So when was the first burger invented? The answer depends on what you mean. If you mean chopped meat shaped into a patty, humans were making it thousands of years ago. If you mean Hamburg steak, Germany made it famous during the 1800s. If you mean a cooked beef patty served between bread, that most likely happened in America during the late 1800s, although nobody knows exactly who did it first. The burger wasn't born in a single moment. It evolved over thousands of years. Farmers grew wheat, bakers made bread, butchers prepared meat, German cooks perfected Hamburg steak, American vendors made it portable, and restaurant owners made it fast. Every generation added one small improvement until one of the world's most famous meals was finally complete. Sometimes history isn't changed by kings or wars. Sometimes it changes because someone put dinner between two pieces of bread.